one of the main benefits is that PDO provides this separation of the SQL and of the execute of the SQL, and the execute of the SQL includes also the binding parameters. So as it's here in the insert data, the data here comes from the post, and actually the end user has control on this data. Before that, here we had this HTML special chars to the value, which is good, but that we can't be sure that each developer will process the values to be more secure like that. So imagine if we don't have the HTML special chars here, and this is the values that we send to SQL. This is the final value, and now when I try to add a new street, for example, in Bulgaria, and trying to add in Sofia, and let's say Druzhba, okay, and now I'm able to control actually the SQL. So I can close the value, and I can send another condition to the insert. For example, I'm able to specify the ID of the row, and I can just write, let's say 30. Okay, and now save. You can see that I have sent a new parameter to the query. So actually I'm able to control the business logic from the input, which is basically comes to SQL injection. And yeah, if I'm able to add a new field condition, I'm able to add the new queries, I'm able to delete the tables, I'm able to delete the whole database basically. And this is a door for the hackers. This is why it's important to prevent such things. And if I show you now the table, you can see I have successfully added a value to the ID, and which is actually auto increment. So this is something that shouldn't be done from the end users, but I was able to do it. And how we can handle this, how we can prevent these things, it's exactly with the prepared statement. And the execute method of the prepared statement provides the parameters arguments that actually allows you to send all the dynamic data in SQL as an array of values. And it makes some converting of the string. It makes some process of the string, so it excludes actually all injected code if user inject the code, and it's done the secure job for you. Let me quick try to set up this query to use the parameters. So here we see that the SQL is prepared by combining of the fields in their values, and here is the value. So instead of mapping directly the value that comes from the data, which may contain some sensitive information, I can create a placeholder for that value. What I mean is that instead of that one, okay, I can use the following syntax here. So I don't need the quotes now because it's not a value, and I don't need these quotes that surround the value, and I need some let's say placeholder for the field, and I can use this one. It's always sent by this sign, and then I easily can use the component column of the column name to use it. That actually what I'm defining here is that this expect a value, this expected value. And if I, let me write exit here, if I refresh now, you see the insert method is it's contains something that I have defined in the code, and actually it's not comes from the data, but it comes from the field settings. So firstly, it's more secure, and second, here the SQL it's not finished yet. And what I need now is to tell the SQL, to MySQL, that this is mapped to a value and this is mapped to a value. And how I did this is to just so I'm adding a new parameters here, which is params, and here I should map the params that I need to the values. And how we do it, params, so I will need the placeholder here. The placeholder here is the component, the column name, and it is mapped to this value. Okay, so let me dump it, params. Alright, so I'm dumping it, and what I'm getting. So firstly, this is the SQL. It is basically our query builder. So our query builder says that this is the fields that will be added to the query, and this mapped actually city ID is the same as this, and name is the same as this one. Yeah, it's still not secure basically, because this value it's not processed. It's not exclude the dangerous symbols added by the end user. But now if I try to again to run this one, so let me remove the exit, and also I am adding the parameters to the execute method. Okay, so now I'm ready to run the SQL. I will try another row, for example. Okay, again I'm closing I will do the same. I will close the quote, the value, then I try to add a new condition to the SQL and try to add 50 ID. Okay, I run save. So now you see firstly that the SQL not rely on the user input. It's not rely on that. So I'm not already able to modify the SQL because SQL is defined in the code, and this is how it should be done, defined from the code. And also, yeah, I've added here the this let's say hacking code. But if I'm going here, so you see there is no row with ID 50, and I have just saved this to the column, which is still not looks like a street name, but it's not provide secure issues for the system. So actually, I have prevented the hacking of my database, and this is why the PDO is useful. One of the benefits of the PDO that I like most. And also, when I have these parameters with the value, for example, let's imagine that I have condition when the user is not logged, for example, it's not logged in the CMS, I don't want to store the city. Or I want to city ID to be particular one. I want city ID to be always 20. So this way I should not change the whole SQL. I should only change this one. So I'm here able to put some condition and add parameters or change parameters. So it's more flexible for the logic. This is another reason to use a binding parameters. And that is pretty much